Let me take all this off the screen. How are you? Oh my gosh, okay. I guess I'll just show this and I'll take off this. All right, I still have everything on from yesterday. Where is this hide? Oh, sadness, despair, disappointment. This is not the right. I'm going to take this off the screen. This is not right. I haven't updated everything to reflect that I'm back at Claire Speaks Life. I'm still operating as The Truth Heals. And yeah, The Truth Heals. And that's still one of my mantras, right? The truth heals. And the truth is very painful today. The truth, I know I don't want to sound like Donald Trump. But the truth is, and I don't want to sound like Donald Trump. Oh God. They've rigged it. So I will sound just like Donald Trump because I guess I am Donald Trump, right? I talked about voting for myself in 2016. I made myself a legal write-in 2016, and I had no idea that by voting for myself, I would be voting for Donald Trump, who was on the Republican ticket on the ballot. I wasn't on the ballot, but he was, and unfortunately, I'm related to him. I'm also related to Hillary Clinton, but he's my genetic father, one of many of my genetic fathers. Okay, I have many, many genetic fathers. I know that sounds so odd and weird. Thanks to genetic engineering, this was possible. And this is why I own all of the lineages, the royal lineages that I do. And this is why I was born queen, okay? And it's a female lineage. Men can't um they're in, right? They have penises. They don't give birth. That's why women own the lineages because they're the ones who give birth. I haven't been allowed to give birth. I created many babies naturally. They used me. I was a baby machine that they used to breed a lot of children. Most of them are genetically breeded in the laboratory, and some of them were naturally breeded with my own body, and they just removed the embryos and froze them until another woman could give birth to my babies in the future. I would carry them for 1 month total, or a little more than a month, or something like that. They were embryos that were implanted in other women. Well, implanted means in. I struggle with the language, as we all do, because this is all new technology. Until another woman could be implanted with them is the correct way of expressing it, I believe, instead of in another woman. It's implant. Um, very. I mean, I obviously last night on the live stream, I saw the way it was going, but I was hoping, I just felt that it was wrong and it was going bad, and I was right, wasn't I? I didn't follow it after the live stream. I was really frustrated last night. But I woke up early this morning and decided to turn on the TV and screamed when I found out that Trump was the winner of the election. Just screamed. My worst, I thought my worst nightmare was back in 2016. But I have to say, 2024 is the worst. Because this time, my classification, I'm classified top secret, thanks to some idiot I call the doctor of delusion, who made me in 1975. He mislabeled me. I was 9 years old at the time, home alone. He mislabeled me a threat to national security, which classified me as top secret. A 9-year-old girl, home alone. And as the result, I have been classified almost my entire life. It's 49 years now and counting. Um, Most top secrets are declassified after, I think it's 20 years, 30 years, 20, 25. I don't know. 25. I think it's 25. And, but this top secret was so sensitive and so vital to our national security that it warranted renewing her. I was last renewed in 1994 after my ex-boyfriend, who I broke up with on the morning of the murders, murdered my brand new husband Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson, our friend. um that was the last time I was renewed. And it was an intense battle. CIA wanted me renewed as long as possible because, it was their plan to do away with me before I ever expired or could be renewed again. I mean, they weren't ever going to get away with renewing me another time. That was the last opportunity they had. I didn't have any memories at that time. And so it was in my best interest to be protected. Well, I wasn't really protected, but I don't know. I guess it was in my money's best interest somehow. I wasn't protected. I mean, but my money was, I guess, to some extent. I mean, we've had to pay off people like Trump and others, just to get their grimy hands off of it, all these years in my absence. So, I mean, it wasn't completely protected, but it was protected more than it would have been had we not paid them off. And obviously, we've had to pay off Elon Musk and all these people, these idiots who were very invested in Trump's reelection. My worst nightmare, because I am ready for business. I'm 59 years old. In 1994, I had no memories. I was still very traumatized. I had a lot of healing to do before I was really ready to face the truth in my life. But here I am, 59 years old. I'm ready to go. This is why it was now that my expiration happened. That I mean, the expiration of my classification. That is, I'm not expired. My classification is expired, and I've been very patient. It's been hell waiting for everything to legally go through, and look what has happened instead. I don't want to sound like Donald Trump. Clearly, this was rigged. It's clear to me that before I ever casted my vote yesterday, they rigged it. So my vote was not counted. And, I know we live in the United States of America and every vote is one vote, right? And, it just seems like most Americans would say, oh, what, a queen vote? We don't have a queen in the United States of America. Yeah. Well, you have a dictator, deranged king now, a fake king. I shouldn't even call him king. He's fake. He wants to be king. He thinks he's king. He's not. He's just one of my genetic fathers. Okay. I don't know how many genetic fathers I have. I had 20 something. I don't know, maybe 40 something. It's crazy how many I have. I'm not crazy. The truth is crazy. And yeah, I have that many genetic fathers. Why? Because my grandmother, who is my sole genetic mother, had so much IQ. The man contributes EQ in terms of genes and DNA. The father passes along EQ, which is emotional quotient, not intellectual. What is it? EQ, IQ, right? It's the mother who passes along IQ, which determines your IQ, right? The father passes along your emotional side, which is the foundation for your IQ. And I know modern day science doesn't quite know all the mechanics of this yet, but The CIA does, because they have a link to Vega, who tells them top secretly everything that we don't yet know officially. But yeah, the EQ from the father provides a foundation for the IQ from the mother. And, if you have high IQ, you have your genetic mother to thank for that, and no one else. The father just gives you your emotional foundation for that IQ. Okay. And hopefully you have high EQ fathers. Now, Donald Trump, if Donald Trump was my only father, I'd be in deep shit right now, because he has a very low EQ and a very low IQ too, by the way. I know he always talking about having high IQ. He's retarded. Okay, let's be honest. Donald Trump is missing parts of his brain that would make him a sensible person and make him have empathy. He's a narcissist whose world revolves around himself, and he has no care about anyone else around him or in the world. It's all about him, and him winning, and him having dominance and control over everything in his environment. That's a narcissist. That's a classic narcissist. And that's what Donald Trump is. And when you're a narcissist, you're retarded. A person who has a heart, which is part of the brain, which is part of IQ. Okay, yes, EQ. EQ is tied, you got to have the good EQ to support the IQ that makes the heart. Okay. If you don't have the good foundation, this thing gets, the IQ is useless. Okay. And daddy used to tell me that the EQ is actually more important than the IQ, because if you don't have any IQ for that EQ, the EQ by itself is superior to IQ by itself, you know. Um, and that's what he explained to me. You don't want a high IQ person doesn't have healthy, vibrant EQ, which comes only. And I have, like, I don't know how many. I mean, I could be, I always say 20 something, but I have more. I was told, I mean, there are some of my fathers are my fathers many, many times over. So, it would have to be more than 20 something. Maybe there are 20 some individual fathers, and some of them are my father many times over. Okay. So, and that's why it's many times the foundation that I have a lot of area for all my grandmother's IQ, right? Lots of EQ to put all her IQ on. And when you have a child, the IQ that the genetic mother passes along changes, with each generation, and it grows, and it molds to the individual EQ that child has. And so my IQ is very different from my grandmother's. It's more developed, and I was the only healthy normal baby at birth. I'm a triplet with an identical twin sister, and both my identical twin sister, who was the second born, and our triplet brother, who was the third born, he almost didn't survive. He was a baby that was this big. If he fit in the palm of your hand, they didn't know he was going to survive or not, and that's why he was shipped down to the Dominican Republic, where you're close to the equator, and the food have more nutrients. That was the only option they had back in the 1960s, and he survived and is alive and well. And she married, I ended up married and got a divorce before I knew he was my triplet brother, before he knew, and we found out after our divorce. But yeah, he married a sister of ours, a genetic sister of ours. So he is married to a sister of his, a Japanese sister of ours. And they have a child together, which is actually my child that conceived naturally in my own body, thanks to the RAPE done to me by her father. back in the 90s. And he must be gorgeous because her father, her father was a very attractive Japanese man, and combined with I have all races in me, but um, I just think the child is probably gorgeous. He's like, I think he's 17 years old now. I can't believe that. I don't even know his name. I just know he's a boy and that he was born in, I don't know, sometime at the end of the summer or in the summer of 2007. Anyway, yeah, doing the free association thing. Like, is the Trump tradition? Well, you made him president, so I guess it's okay, huh? That I'm like our fake president. Um, all right, so yeah, this is the nightmare so far. I thought 2016 was the worst nightmare, but this takes the cake. And I certainly did not expect this. I mean, I knew that Trump was expecting it. I knew Steve Bannon was expecting it. They talked about it, right? Oh, yeah, it's definitely, this is the best election ever, the best campaign ever. I mean, this is what Trump was saying again and again. And I'm like, what is he up to? Why does he say that? Everybody's wondering, like, the best election, the best campaign. I mean, he's not nearly uh, as presentable as he was in 2016. You could see he's getting kind of tired, he's only, running for his own life here. He wants to get away with all his crimes. And, as president, he's going to reverse everything. I don't know why so many people think he's so great. I mean, he's just a criminal who wants, I mean, that would be any criminal's fantasy to be president of the United States. So they're in total domination of the law of the United States. He's going to fire everybody and put loyalists in there. It's going to be like, the Gambino crime family or something. I mean, you thought it was, I don't know. I can't get over how many stupid idiots blame the economy on Biden. I mean, Biden inherited the fucking pandemic that Trump caused and blamed China for. I mean, come on, guys. How stupid could you be? It's really, just understand that to be a Trumper, you have to, Trump talks about being so high IQ and all the Democrats are low IQ. It's the reverse. He is like spitting out the reverse opposite of the truth. He's turning everything around and making his followers think they have really high IQ when they're like the stupidest people in the universe for thinking he is like God's savior or something, like the reincarnation of Jesus or something. I mean, can you imagine Jesus being Donald Trump? Can you imagine, like, I mean, anyone who can't see the truth is blind, I mean, it is so obvious to me and to people who can see the truth that have eyes to see. There's something missing in all of those brains who support Trump. I mean, it's retardation. And I'm not saying everybody's retarded. There might be some people whose brains shut down when they encounter an alpha male. He is an alpha male. Okay. And I really, it's like I think I've heard, I was told there's like there's a gene that we can call the Trump gene. It's like the alpha male gene. Some people have it, and they just revere alpha males. They're like powerless, like to resist an alpha male. And maybe it's the alpha female that all the rest of us have, right? The alpha female gene, the Claire gene. I mean, I don't really consider myself an alpha female. Um, I'm not a dictator. I mean, I could never think of being a dictator. That's not what a healthy alpha female would be, or even a healthy alpha male would be. Dictator, that's like retardation. That's not being an alpha anything. But I think that Donald Trump can very easily trick you or trigger that if you have that gene, that Trump gene. It's triggered when you encounter Trump because he comes off big and strong and masculine, oh, I'm gonna, and their brains respond to that and they can't, it's like their brains shut down. I mean, maybe some of them don't have brains and to shut down, And then others might, because I see that there are some intelligent people who think Trump is, like, good for this country, like, he's just this successful businessman who knows how to make money and how to manage money, and that's what we need. Because look at this economy, and it was this stupid idiot who caused this economy in the first place that, Biden inherited and had to manage, and I think the Biden administration has done such an incredible job cleaning up the mess that is Trump, and then Trump takes credit and then, like, blames Biden, and Biden wasn't even president, and, when the pandemic happened to destroy our economy, and, and oh, it's just so aggravating. Anyway, I'm devastated. Okay, devastated. I don't think I cried. I see that there are people online who were crying. Let me see. All right. I'm gonna go to another page in a minute. This is where did I see the crying? People crying over here. I'm just trying to find this page to show you. I'm gonna share my page in a minute. Just trying to find it. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so I'm gonna share it. Harris. All right. Am I sharing it? Yes, I am. Okay, so I don't know. She has. I just brought these pages up a few moments ago before we went live. Donald Trump wins second term in historic return to White House. Yeah, CNN projected it too. Oh, I did scream out loud. That much I can tell you. I screamed bloody murder when I found out. I was not crying though. I can't believe I'm not crying. I mean, I'm really upset, but I guess I'm just beyond tears at this point. Okay. Let me read this. Vice President Kamala Harris, let me get rid of this guy. Vice President Kamala Harris did not speak as election night turned into Wednesday morning. Voters gathered for what was supposed to be a celebration at her alma mater, Howard University. Harris will address the nation later Wednesday. Her campaign co-chair, Cedric Richmond, what is this votes? Told a thinning crowd gathered at her watch party at Howard University after midnight. Photos show partygoers leaving and Harris supporters crying as results continued to come in that showed her falling behind in key states. This is a supporter of U.S. Vice President and Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris. She reacts during an election night event at Howard University in Washington, November 5th, 2024, right here. I don't remember. Well, I just stopped watching, didn't I, at 9ish or something? We stopped the live stream, and I said I was coming back at 11 p.m. and then it was 11 p.m. and I couldn't do it. I didn't check out the results or anything. I just couldn't do it, and I rescheduled it for this morning at 9, but I didn't bring my phone to reschedule it again. Sorry about that, but I figured you'd understand. And here I am now. I was an hour late getting on here. Here's some supporters reacting to election results during an election night event for U.S. Vice President and Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris at Howard University on November 5th, 2024. So I guess it was really bad even before midnight, huh? At 9, it didn't look good. But I thought it was because most of the vote hadn't come in yet, and it hadn't. But I guess as the night wore on, it became clear that it wasn't looking good for her, and I can't even believe it. I mean, this is a shock to so many people. I know it is. I mean, she looked so good. It did not look like a clear path to any. It looked like she had the advantage going into everything. and it did. And yeah, it was neck and neck. Nobody was, but most people were predicting Kamala Harris. They were. The mood at Howard University had dampened after the evening started out with music pumping and crowds dancing. As the night wore on, muted crowds watched with eyes glued to screens showing the results. I bet Trump laughs at these photos. He probably laughs at our misery. He probably makes him happy. Okay. The crowd cheered any times were called for Harris and booed whenever states were called for Trump. Yeah. Here, let me look at some pages. Um, I don't know what that one is. Is it this one? Okay. This is BBC. Are you looking at BBC? Yeah. Is that it right there? Okay. Kamala Harris yet to speak as Trump wins White House. Kamala lost her bid to become America's first woman as her Republican rival Donald Trump surged to a decisive victory in the U.S. presidential election. The vice president is yet to speak or concede, despite it becoming clear by Wednesday morning that Trump had secured enough votes in key swing states to win. Harris canceled her expected election night appearance at Howard University in Washington, D.C., where she studied as an undergraduate, as Trump began to make steady gains. He has now won enough key battleground states, including Pennsylvania. Really? It looked good for her earlier in the evening. And he won North Carolina. Yeah, I saw that coming a little bit. But Wisconsin looked like it might not go to him. Well, he now won them, and he won enough key battleground states to secure the presidency, with several states left to declare. Early projections revealed that the key battleground states, which had swung back to the Democrats in the 2020 election, why did it swing back to the Democrats? Why did it swing back to him? See, it doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't seem like, if people really didn't want him to be president in 2020, why would they want him to be president now? Why would they swing back and forth like that? After all we've been through with Trump, I don't know. I think I live in Trump land, so it's the environment around here is not really a good indication. But I think throughout the United States, most people do not care for Trump. So how did he win? How did he win? Okay. Early projections revealed that the key battleground states, which had swung back to the Democrats in the 2020 election, would be won by Trump again. Early projections. I didn't see those projections. Now they're saying so, but they said it was neck and neck, and that everybody kind of like saw there was like a little preference for Kamala. So I don't know what early projections. I didn't see that. Nobody made that public. This is BBC. They're from another country. They're the UK. They don't know what they're talking about, I guess. He defeated Hillary Clinton in 2016 by demolishing the Democrats' so-called blue wall of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Trump is also beating Harris in the popular vote, the first Republican to lead nationally since George W. Bush in 2004. He didn't win the popular vote in 2016 or in 2020, and now suddenly he wins the popular vote. I mean, everyone's so dissatisfied with Biden and they can't handle having a woman president. to the point where they're willing to take back the guy who was impeached twice, um, caused our pandemic, handled the pandemic so poorly that millions of people died because he just considered it to be like an intense form of the flu. Remember that? I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Um, as expected, Trump stormed to victory in conservative strongholds across the US, while Harris won liberal states from New York to California, which have the most population, I might add. Harris saw a surge in popularity after she became the Democratic Party's nominee in June, following Joe Biden's disastrous performance in the first presidential debate. Her team sought to strike a more optimistic vision than the Portrait of America decay presented by Trump, focusing heavily on securing abortion rights. Trump, by contrast, frequently targeted Harris with highly personal ads during the campaign, variously calling the vice president stupid, lazy, and dumb as a rock. He's describing himself, in my view. I mean, that's my opinion. How is she has an incredible career behind her. I mean, she worked hard, she got her degrees. I mean, I know Trump says he got, he had other people take his exams and cheated and got his pieces of paper. I know, you can see the difference between the two. I mean, Harris, she worked really hard, and she was taught the value of hard work by her parents. Her father is a professor at Stanford or something. He's pretty well known too, and her mother was a scientist, an Indian scientist. Um, you know, it's Kamala Harris that knows the value of hard work and is the opposite of stupid, lazy, and dumb as a rock. Trump is describing himself and just turning it around and putting it on her. She's the last person you could ever get away with calling lazy, stupid, or dumb as a rock. Trump also questioned her racial identity during the early stages of the campaign, but you know, um, Kamala's father is African American, and Kamala looked more African American when she was growing up because she didn't straighten her hair. I kind of think of Megan. I'm forgetting Megan's last name at this point. Harry's Megan. She looks very different now because she straightens her hair. It's really amazing how you can change your appearance when you just straighten your hair. When she was growing up, kids, uh, you know, kids are harsh, and she looked African American. So of course she's, going to have that identity at school, even though her mother was Indian. She was lighter skinned, but she had African American hair, and the kids saw her as African American, and that's how she grew up. And for him to like question her racial identity, yeah, today I mean, I didn't even know she was African American when I saw her either, but that's only because she straightens her hair. The Democrat is expected to speak later on Wednesday. That's Kamala Harris. A senior Trump advisor told the BBC's U.S. partner, CBS, that they expected Harris to call the president-elect to concede defeat, a step Trump refused to take lost the 2020 election. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that Kamala owes Trump. I just don't. I don't think Kamala, don't make the call. Don't make it. Don't make it. The vice president was due to address supporters on Tuesday night, but Campo chairman Cedric Richmond announced shortly after midnight that she would not attend. We still have votes to count, he said at the time. Yeah. The party-like atmosphere of a few hours earlier at Howard had already turned sour as two swing states were called for Trump. At Harris headquarters, Democratic fundraiser Lindsay Lee told the BBC the mood was pretty grim right now. The former California senator was running to become a woman, black woman, and South Asian American to win the presidency. CBS exit poll data suggests that the Democratic nominee may have underperformed with women. Why? I do not know. I guess because there's still a lot of racism in the United States, I guess. I mean, I don't know why. Some 50, I don't know. It's rigged. I know it is. I mean, I think women loved her. Okay, they were talking about that for election day, how women were changing their vote to Harris. Some 54% of female voters cast their ballots for her, below the 57% of women Joe Biden won in 2020. Okay, a few percentage points different. Black and Latino voters also appeared slightly less likely to support Harris than they were to back Biden 4 years ago, according to Associated Press exit poll data. The campaign faced criticism at times for its failure to expand on a clear economic message, an issue which exit polls showed was extremely important to Americans who have faced several years of rising inflation thanks to Trump. Thanks to Trump. They just inherited it from Trump. He was president when the economy exploded like it did. After 86 million voters cast their ballots early during one of the most turbulent campaigns in recent American history, about 86 million voters cast their ballots. The Republican Party enjoyed a resurgence across the country, winning a number of key congressional battles in key states and taking back control of the Senate. What happened to the House? I have to find out. The Republicans did 2 seats in West Virginia and Ohio from Democrats and saw off a stiff challenge in Texas. Neither party seemed to have an overall edge in the House. Okay, which Republicans narrowly control. What are you doing, Dean?
Trying to fall down.
You tried?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Why? What's the matter? Don't speak. Don't share any private information, but what is going on? My husband is suffering right now. Don't say any private information. You're physically at a failure.
My kid died after 25 years.
It died? Dean is trying to cut up some wood and put it at the curb. We still have trees on or branches, I should say, that need to be cut up and put at the curb. You know, they still haven't picked up all the debris from Hurricane Helene. And your chainsaw, how many years have you had that chainsaw?
25, 30 years. Okay,
but my cord is still okay. Yes. Everything's fine. Okay. So we don't have a chainsaw, and the hand saw is not going to do it. Okay. So we have to figure out what we're doing. Okay. I'm sorry. Are you okay? You just need to rest, right? Lily's trying to comfort you. You're a good girl, Lily. Lily's comforting her daddy. She's a good girl. Yeah, you're such a sweet, devoted girl. We love you, baby. You okay, Mikey? Okay. Everybody okay? You're all right, Dean? You just need to rest, right? Okay. All right. You just need okay. All right. So it looks like they narrowly control. The Republicans narrowly control. I mean, they've taken over. They must be so happy right now. They have dominated. Project 5 is on the way. Yay! We can take over and create. They're just faking peace on earth. On earth as it is in heaven. It's not that way in heaven, guys. You're talking about Satan's law. When you talk about Project 25, Hitler, he wants to be, you want a Hitler on earth, huh? And you want everybody, all services cut off, no services, no government, you know.
You're on your own.
Yeah, it's like the jungle, baby, right? The fittest survive, right? And everybody else can go out on the curb and die. If the party does regain control of both chambers, and it looks like they have, right? It would make push through which mass deportations of illegal migrants and sweeping tax cuts for all the wealthy and rich. Not for us, not for the working man and woman. He's talking about cuts for his wealthy friends like Elon Musk and others. Sides had armies of lawyers on standby for legal challenges on and after Election Day. Despite some early lawsuits filed by the Trump campaign, the scale of his lead appeared to ward off any prospect of protracted legal battles. Law enforcement agencies nationwide were also on high alert for potential violence because we thought he was going to lose. Everybody thought he was going to lose. And yeah, we thought it would be a narrow margin, and that would make him tell everybody, oh, they cheated again. And why everybody was on high alert for another January 6th. About 30 hoax bomb threats targeted election locations nationwide on Tuesday, more than half of them in the state of Georgia alone, reports CBS. How interesting. What is it about the state of Georgia? All right. All right. I have another thing that I pulled up that I'm going to share. Okay. Has Kamala Harris conceded the election? What to know after Trump won the White House? Donald Trump wins presidency, electoral college, and stunning political comeback. Donald Trump overcomes political obstacles to win second term, including 2020 loss, 2 impeachments, criminal conviction, and assassination attempts. Unbelievable. Yeah, he is our savior. That's what I guess his people think. Oh, he's amazing. He's like Superman. Ah! Yeah, a criminal who has dodged all bullets but when history is told, we have no idea what is to come. Let me just say that much. You have no idea what is to come. This is the biggest scam in history. That's what I believe. Okay. Vice President Kamala Harris canceled a speech at an election night party, but had not yet conceded defeat early Wednesday after former President Donald Trump was elected to another term. Trump defeated Harris by capturing at least 270 of the electoral votes needed to win the presidency. His tally could increase as more votes are counted. On Tuesday night, Harris was expected to address her election night party at Howard University in Washington, D.C., a historically Black college where she was an undergraduate. We still have votes to count. We still have states that have not been called yet. We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken. Harris is co-chair Cedric Richmond. Hey, for Richmond County, we live in Richmond County, Georgia. Cedric Richmond said Tuesday night. So you won't hear from the vice president tonight, but you will hear from tomorrow. What is it? Sign up for your vote. Okay. Howard alumni, Democratic activists, Biden administration officials, and Harris supporters had packed into the school's yard where inspirational figures such as the late South African President Nelson Mandela, former U.S. President Barack Obama, and talk show host Oprah Winfrey have delivered addresses over the years, hoping to see Harris speak on Tuesday evening. See, nobody expected that Donald Trump was going to win. Nobody. Oh, what about that guy? There was a guy who has called every election perfectly the last, I don't know how many years, and he predicted Kamala. So let's go to YouTube. I'm going to find this guy. I want to know what he has to figure out his name first. No. Yeah, the CIA does hate women, and that's the problem here. Okay. Oh, that's The Truth Heals. Oh, that's my other channel. Man who has predicted the past elections, I guess, who has perfectly predicted, I'll say that. I don't know if that's gonna perfectly predicted the past US elections. I don't know if that's gonna bring them up or not. Let's see. Famed US predictor forecast. There it is. Okay, this guy. Okay. Okay, let me. All right, we're gonna just watch this. I just want to get rid of this
drink
ad first.
Neither. This is a protein drink. You've got almond butter.
When it comes to predicting U.S. presidential election results, few people can rival the track record of Alan Lichtman, a professor of history at American University in Washington. He developed the keys to the White House system, a checklist that weighs the chances of the incumbent or challenger taking the prize. He's correctly called 9 out of the last 10 elections since 1984. And Alan Lichtman joins us now. Alan, good to have you with us. You first predicted a Harris victory back on September 5th, and you've maintained that prediction. Why? When most people think it's too close to call.
I just want to point out, he predicted this on September 5th. That is Dean's and this past September 5th was Dean's and my 10th wedding anniversary, and I don't think it was any kind of coincidence that this guy, Alan Lichtman, is that his name, called the election, predicted the election on that very day. Okay, to point that out before we continue here. Okay.
Because my prediction system is unique. It rejects the pundits. They're buddies of mine, but they have no scientific basis for their prognostications. They have no track record of advanced prediction. And by the way, don't give any credence to anyone who claims they can predict elections without an extensive track record. My model has been essentially the one thing I proved in my report to the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, that Florida messed up, that Al Gore should have won Florida going away, but for the rejection of black ballots. But historians will be debating 2000 forever. But essentially, I've been right since I predicted Ronald Reagan's re-election in April 1982, when 60% of Americans thought he was too old to run again, and his approval ratings were historically low. That was the first of many times I made predictions against the polls, including in 2016, when I predicted a Donald Trump win, which did not make me very popular in 90% plus Democratic Washington, D.C., where I teach at American University. Right. But
Alan,
what makes the keys? Yeah, go ahead.
Talk us through the checklist.
Yeah. The keys are different than anything else because they gauge the strength and performance of the White House party. In other words, the fundamentals, not the fluctuating polls or punditry. And here are the 13 keys. They're simple, integral parameters. Mandate based on U.S. House elections. Incumbency, contest for the incumbent party nomination. Third party. Short and long-term economy, policy change, social unrest, scandal, foreign/military failures and successes, and only two keys have anything to do with the candidates, asking whether, and they're very high threshold keys, asking whether the incumbent or challenging party candidate once in a generation inspired like Franklin Reagan, the Republican.
Alan, what are the chances you could be wrong? You say don't pay attention to the campaigns of both candidates, but given how tight the race is, that 1% undecided will probably refer to the campaigns of the two candidates before deciding.
No one, I repeat, no one has a successful track record of predicting elections by looking at the campaigns. That's an illusion. Based on the campaign, Hillary Clinton should have won on a landslide in 2016. She won all the debates. She raised more money. She had more ads. She had a better organization, but she lost. You know, did John Kerry run a worse campaign than George W. Bush? He also won the debates against that very bad debater. Did Hubert Humphrey run a worse campaign than Richard Nixon in 1968? No way to tell. That's why I look at the fundamentals. And this idea that this race is undecided or close is based upon the misleading polls that led, virtually every pollster and pundit down the primrose path of error in 2016. The most eminent compiler of polls, the Princeton University Consortium, one of the great world universities, gave Hillary Clinton a 99% chance of winning. And I stood by my call of Trump. And by the way, I got a note after the election which said, "Congrats, good call," and in big Sharpie letters signed Donald J. Trump.
Alan, your checklist does not include the possibility of influences from people like Elon Musk, for instance, the biggest donor for Trump, and he controls the social media, X at least, and he does wield a lot of influence. I mean, might your checklist perhaps be missing out on some of the other aspects which may be influential?
Well, my checklist is not just made up. As I said, I've been successful in predicting for over 40 years. No one else has a track record like that. And retrospectively, I developed the keys in 1981, looking at 1860 to 1980. And in 1860, we had no automobiles, no planes, no radio, no television, no polls. Women couldn't vote. African Americans were enslaved. Many demographic groups, like my ancestors from Eastern Europe, weren't here yet. We're an agricultural economy. So the keys have endured enormous changes in our society, in our economics, in our demography, in our politics. That's why I don't sway and change them in response to what people say is different. You got to change. America is not ready to elect an African American. Of course, if I listened, I would have been wrong. And in 2016, people said, "Oh my God," after the Access Hollywood tape with Trump bragging about sexually assaulting women, got to change your prediction. He's finished. I didn't. I stuck with it. And I am right. I was right then. You can't change a model based on 160 years of politics on the fly based on what critics say.
You talked about being worried when it comes to the fragility of democracy. Why? We're talking about a country that stands for democracy, possibly the biggest democracy, it says, in the world.
The new bearskin hoodie for...
All right. Okay. Yeah, so Howard Lichtman, is that his name? He's got almost a perfect record in predicting, and the only time he was wrong, and he doesn't consider himself to be wrong, that year was when with George Bush and Al Gore in Florida, the hanging Chad situation. He doesn't consider himself wrong. It was Al Gore who won that election, he says, and he stands by that, even though because of Florida, they changed the outcome of the election. And that was due to me vote. I know it's kind of complex. Go through everybody that I voted for and what the outcome was, people to understand how it works. It's kind of like a super delegate vote, only it's the queen vote that supersedes all other votes and determines the election. And yeah, maybe everybody thinks that that's cheating or something, but there's super delegates. This is the Electoral College. And I used to be very opposed to the Electoral College. It's like, well, the people should decide the president, not the Electoral College. I mean, what is the purpose of the Electoral College? And, apparently, our founders didn't trust the people, to cast their vote and determine their president. I guess they thought that, the people would need some guidance, and they needed a group of people to confirm the vote and make sure it was for the right person that could do the job properly. I don't know. And I thought that was pretty arrogant of our founders and very old world. And I just didn't understand why we had an electoral college. And now I understand that my queen vote is the Electoral College, or part of it. If I don't vote, then all the super delegates, they team, people here. I'm just thinking about Georgia because I'm here now. These white guys down here think they are like superior to the population everywhere, who think there are gods on earth to rule in God's absence. I don't know. I guess that's what they think. They've rigged it. There's like a couple things that I've noticed in the news about Georgia, how there was this situation where I have to bring it up. It's in my email. I saved I was really shocked. Here it is. It's Newsweek. Ballots. I'm seeing that it's about ballots, and I'm sharing in a minute. Yeah. Voters. This is before the election. I guess I saw it yesterday morning. Thousands of Georgia voters in Democratic County might not have ballots counted. Georgia's highest court has ruled that over 3,000 absentee ballots might not be counted if they are received after Election Day, despite an error by local election officials, which I'm sure was rigged by these same, by all the Republicans in Georgia, who were determined that Kamala not win and that Trump would win, unlike he didn't in 2020. All the ballots are in Cobb County, which is right outside Atlanta, a northern suburb of Atlanta that voted for Joe Biden in 2020. See, they're like focused on a Democratic county, right? They don't care about the Republican counties. They're just like targeting the ones that turn blue. Okay, so they gotta like take control, right? This is what they do in Georgia. This is what they're doing in Georgia. This is what they've been working on to make sure Trump wins this time. And I succeeded, at least for now, until all the corruption that they committed, is exposed. That's what, okay, to be honest. Okay. These absentee ballots could be a deciding factor in a state where Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are tied in the opinion polls. Biden won the state with 49.5% of the vote in 2020, compared with 49.2% for Trump. Yeah, they made sure it was a bigger victory this time. And the other way, I just don't see how that ever. I would think that, Biden has really, I feel like he has navigated through the impossible, And yeah, you can't expect everything to be turned around after a pandemic like happened during the Trump presidency. I mean, everything was destroyed. I mean, our whole world changed thanks to that pandemic. How can you expect one administration to turn everything around and make it better than it was before? I mean, after all that destruction and terror, how can you blame the administration that helped save our economy from going into recession? I mean, we didn't go into recession, nothing. I mean, that is a huge accomplishment by the Biden administration, and nobody gives him credit. Nobody gives the administration credit for that. Why? I mean, if Trump is such a good businessman, I mean, hasn't he made a lot of money because we haven't gone? Isn't he praising? Obviously, we know why he's not praising the Biden administration, because it doesn't serve his purposes. If he's trying to make them look bad, but any sensible person would appreciate, I mean, that any real businessman, and Trump is not a true businessman. He's a criminal, okay, trying to get away with all his crimes, and this is the way he's going to get away with them, by becoming president. He's going to dismiss all these cases against himself. I mean, what a fantasy for a fucking criminal. I mean, I can't even believe that this is possible in the United States of America. You just become president and then you get away with all your crimes. Yeah, just come to Georgia. My brother-in-law down the street, we're still waiting for him to be arrested. Is Trump going to like pardon him and let him amongst everyone? I mean, he tried to kill my husband after he killed their mother and their brother. My brother-in-law, the good one. What has this world come to is what I'm asking. Okay, so Trump famously called Georgia's Brad Raffensperger, who actually upheld the law, and it's really amazing that both him and the governor, is his name Brian Kemp? I don't know. I don't like Brian Kemp very much. I think I don't agree with his policies, but at least they upheld the law and they stood up to Trump. I mean, I give them credit for that. I can't even believe they did it, but all of their fellow Republicans here in the state of Georgia, they've been scrambling to somehow, bring everything under their control once again. Like, they want total domination of Georgia. They're not going to let their state remain blue. It's been blue ever since I've been here, ever since I've lived here until this election. How did that happen? We've been blue, blue, blue. Okay, Obama, blue. Wait, I was in Florida at the time when I voted for myself, Claire Elizabeth Fields Cruz. That was the name I had. And then because I was voting for myself, I had run for president, but I called it off and I voted for myself. And Obama wins. Why? Because one of my genetic fathers with the name Cruz, because I had changed my name to Cruz. It was his vote that determined the presidency. It was passed on to him. My vote was disqualified. And it was Tom Cruise who, of course, voted for Barack Obama. Okay. And then I was here in Georgia when that was 2008. And then 2012, I'm here in Georgia finally, right? And I do not run for president at all, but I still have the name Claire Elizabeth Fields Cruz. I had changed it legally in Los Angeles. Okay. And that was to fulfill a promise to Tom Cruise when we got married when I was 9, and it was on his 13th birthday in 1975. 1975, just before I was mislabeled a threat to national security and classified top secret for the rest for 49 years and counting now. Okay, so yeah, their state has been actually, I don't know if Georgia was blue in 2008. I was in Florida at that time. I was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. But yeah, in 2000 here in Augusta, Georgia, and yeah, and I voted for myself, Claire Elizabeth Fields Cruz. My father then got the vote because my vote was disqualified because I wasn't on the ticket, right? And my genetic father, whose last name was Cruz, got the vote. That was Tom Cruise, and he, of course, voted for, right? That was probably the beginning of I have to up, and we can do that in a moment. When the state turned blue, that was the year, 2012, right? And then the next election was 2016, right? And it went, I guess everything went, I voted for myself, and it was my genetic father who was on the ticket who got the vote, I assume. And, Trump was elected. And that was I thought that was my greatest nightmare. And then after that, I fixed things, voting for Biden, and nobody predicted Biden, right? Well, everybody liked Biden, but Trump was so sure he was going to stay in there. If he's so powerful, if he's almighty, Donald, I mean, why didn't he stay in office? He was impeached twice, and he lost the election, because I voted for Biden, and he had to leave, and he tried his January 6th thing. It didn't work. I mean, it was a terrible thing. Stole all these classified documents. He's probably stolen my documents, I'm sure people have copies of them. It's not like he had the only copy. He probably just took the originals, which is a legality. That's what all these classified documents are about. I'm top secret. I'm not that upper level of top secret that are, he's accused of being in possession, who's the documents, that he's in possession of are the upper levels of top secret. I mean, in the old days, they didn't have that upper level that they have now. Anyway, okay, so Georgia, I guess it all started with 2012. But, Trump was elected, and obviously I was in Georgia, so I guess it was red that year. I haven't looked it up. I don't keep track of these things. I'm not a politician, and I find politics interesting, but I'm not up to date on all the details, and I have to research it to find it out. And then, of course, Biden in 2020. And, I know all these Republicans were just horrified here in Georgia. Like, what is happening to our state? And they were just absolutely determined to undo it, and they've rearranged government and everything in every way, determined to take to be in total domination of the state starting, in 2024. And, I guess they think they've succeeded. I'm not so sure, but they think they have. I know they're rewarding each other. Penises are supreme. Yeah. Okay, let's see. So Trump famously called Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger after the 2020 election, asking him to find 11,780 votes that Trump needed to beat Biden in Georgia. The American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, has taken a case to protect the rights of Cobb County voters in the 2024 presidential election after officials inadvertently delayed apps and get so confident they're going to go down the way they wanted them to. And so just to like double inoculating themselves, they have all these other side plans and rigs, just in case it didn't go expected, because they were really surprised by Biden's win last time, and they were going to make sure, and they knew it was me, right? So they had to like double down and really make sure it never happened again in their state. Okay. So ACLU, the ACLU has taken this case. News email comment on Tuesday from the RNC, the ACLU, and the Cobb County Election Board. Among the plaintiffs taking the case with the ACLU are Naomi A. Yota, a 19-year-old who attends college in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania; Harrison Grant Simmel, a 20-year-old who attends college in Boulder, Colorado; and Gabriel Dixon, a resident of Cobb County who requested an absentee ballot because he is legally blind. It is incredibly burdensome for him to vote in person, the ACLU lawsuit states. The Georgia Supreme Court ruled that all Cobb County absentee ballots must be received by the time polls close at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, last night. And if they don't, if they arrive at 7:01, they are not counted. Yeah. Yeah, that's how we're going to get some more. We're going to disqualify more of minority votes. Yeah, all those young college students with all their gay dreams and ridiculous fantasies. We're going to shut them down. Yeah. More votes disqualified. Yes, this is the way the Republicans are in Georgia, and they think this is God's will. This is, they're these Bible thumping Christians who think this is the way God is. That's what they think. It couldn't be like, it's the reverse opposite. That's the way Satan is. They're Satanists. That's what I think. Okay. That is the energy, the thought pattern, the action of Satan, not God. All right. So any ballots that are received after that time will be held until the case can be fully litigated. Okay, good. But it doesn't seem to matter. And they're so happy. It doesn't even matter. Who cares? Let them win the lawsuit. We don't care. What's 3,000 more votes on the other side? We won by a landslide. Our plan succeeded. We successfully rigged it. And now we know what works. And we're going to do it every election here in Georgia. And we're going to teach every other state how to do it in their state. Yes, we're in total domination of the United States of America. And we're going to change all the laws so that women are stripped of their rights and they just stay in the bedroom and in our kitchens cooking our meals and, attend to our sexual needs and spit out the babies that we need to raise more dictators. And we're gonna be God on earth. Yes. And when we die, we're gonna be all in heaven together. Yes, we're in control of the universe. Yes, men rule, penises rule, they fuck everything, they destroy everything. Yes, this is peace, this is world peace, this is world domination, this is universe domination. I'm sorry, I just have to let off a little steam here. The Georgia Supreme Court overruled a Cobb County judge who had extended the deadline like a sensible person until 5 p.m. on Friday to compensate for the delay in sending out the ballots. But no, the Georgia Supreme Court, they wanted total domination. No, we do not want any blue votes. We have to dominate at all costs. We're going to take away people's rights so we get what we want. We don't want equal rights for all. We want total domination. We don't want justice. No, screw justice. Justice doesn't get us what we want. We want total domination. And so does God Almighty. You mean Satan Almighty. Yeah, that's who you work for. Satan. That is not God. That is Satan. You're Satanists, all of you. And that's why I'm getting the hell out of here as soon as I can, whenever that is. Okay. I'm a little mad. Okay, I'm a little upset. The Republican National Committee, RNC, and Georgia Republican Party had appealed that decision. Judge, who was so sensible, because it's only fair. If you delay sending out the ballots, you need to delay counting the ballots and delay the closing of the counting of ballots for the amount of the same amount of time you delayed sending out the ballots. You need to give them an extension to get the ballots back. It's only fair. It's only sensible. But no, the Republican National Committee, the RNC, and the Georgia Republican Party appealed that decision to the Georgia Supreme Court, arguing that the Cobb County judge's deviation from election rules is baseless. Oh, it's baseless that we delayed sending out the ballots. And so giving people less time to return them, it's baseless. How is that baseless? It's understandable that if you purposely delayed sending out the absentee ballots, that the people who receive them need the same delay, and you receive, in the deadline for you to receive them, to compensate for that initial delay that you caused. It's not baseless. It's totally sensible. But no, the Georgia Supreme Court, no, we are not sensible people. We are penises who want to fuck the world and everything in it and destroy life as we know it, because we are penises. That's what we are. They are not men. They are not human beings. They are dicks. They are cocks who want to destroy. That's how I see it. The plaintiffs claim, this is what they say. The plaintiffs, was it the plaintiffs? Yeah. The plaintiffs claim a burden on their right to vote, but the Georgia Constitution, which is fucked, does not guarantee a right to vote by mail. Now, if it benefited the Republicans, they'd be fighting for everyone to vote by mail. If it benefited the Republicans, but they know the people who like to vote by mail are most likely going to be Democratic voters that'll be opposed to their goal in life. So, we stand by the Constitution, guarantee a vote by mail. Voters still have many options to vote, including voting in person. If you're even in the state, if you're a college student away at college, you can't. And if you're blind and claiming that it's very difficult for you to get out and vote in person, screw you. So they say voters still have many options to vote, including voting in person or doing their absentee ballots in person. If even in the state, if you're a college student, you're not even in the state to do that, assholes. In its initial lawsuit, the ACLU complained that plaintiffs and 3,000 other lawfully registered Cobb County voters are on the brink of disenfranchisement in the November 5 election because the Cobb County Board of Elections and Registration was unable to issue their absentee ballots on time. Defendants admit to the legal violation. They admit, yes, we legally violated the law. But screw you, because we don't have to follow the law. We're the Georgia Supreme Court, and we're the Cobb County Board of Elections and Registration, and we've all decided to be dicks and penises and cocks. Not men. Those aren't men. Those are body parts that destroy, violate. It is unlikely that this is probably, wait, who says this? I have to adjust my tone of voice if it is the plaintiffs that are speaking. It is unlikely that all affected voters will even receive their ballots by November 2, particularly because the affected voters are temporarily living out of state or overseas states. Yes, exactly. So it's like totally unreasonable. They're saying it's just so reasonable what we're doing. We're just fucking you. Smile on our face. Small cocks and dicks, that's the action of small little puny cocks and penises, that's we're fucking you without you knowing it. I'm sorry, I just really hate people like that. Okay, I'm just seeing if I think I did. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm really venting. I need to vent, really need to vent, because I am really upset about what happened, and I know it's a scam. Okay, I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, stop sharing. I don't know. Okay, here we are. Okay. Mm. Mm. Yeah, I'm really upset. I think I went through all of the pages I brought up, and I don't really have much more to say. I'm gonna end this if I don't have any more. I'm not gonna keep going on and on. Let's just see what's on. Max, I'd have to share this the screen. Let me share. We'll just go to CNN, see what's going on over there.
No, actually, think about. I used to work for Steve Jobs. I'm going to draw an analogy I think you'd appreciate.
Yep.
He was not a nice guy to work for, by the way, but he was 85% signal, 15% noise. The only other entrepreneur that I've ever seen that is more efficient than Jobs is Elon Musk. He's 100% signal, difficult social skills as a result. Doesn't matter. Every mandate, well, I'm pointing out to you that every mandate that he's decided to take on, he's executed on. There's no man on earth with executional skills like that. If he says he's going to do it, he'll surround himself with advocates.
My money, by the way.
Look at his business model. He brings really good talent in, and then he comes in and runs the show. He's going to need Trump to back him on this because no agency wants to be downsized.
Yeah, I'm not going to back you,
they
Elon.
can find a lot of savings.
And
not
do you
back
believe
you. You're
from
the
what
last
you're hearing
person
now,
I'll
and
back
maybe
now.
the fact that Trump looks easily on track to win the is that is he going to attract to work for him after last time, after what the general said,
I've got
after all
good
the
news
people.
for you, Aaron, on this one. Howard Ludwig is running the transition team. I've had a chance to speak with him very briefly. A-listers coming in. We're not going to have the same volatility we had on mandate. Trump 2.0 really wants this to work. It's not rotating door of guys the next week about their horrible experience.
So you better believe
They're
going
going to
do
find
everything
great
they can to
people
make it
to
this
run
time,
this
unfortunately.
mandate, because this is his legacy mandate. He's going to be good for 3 years before he's a lame duck. He knows that. I think
He does know that. You think he
does
cares
know
about
that.
legacy?
You know, being shot at twice kind of sobers you up a little bit. I think that's changed him. He's an older guy now. He's a far more pragmatic guy. I'm an advocate to let him go do his thing and watch him go to work. He cares a lot about the economy, and he's made promises he wants to keep. You get to that point in your life where you want to leave something behind that was a great thing you did. And I think this is going to be what Trump's focused on.
Right.
And I want to say something about the outcome. We corrected ourselves last night. America corrected itself. We were going to a crazy place, and that's what I love about democracy. It fixed itself. We're all better off. And even the Democrats, this was good for them. They're going to get to reboot. This party will be much stronger in 36 months.
Yeah, well, it will change. It will change, and obviously could be very much stronger. All right, Kevin, thank you very much. And stay with CNN, because Election Day in America continued is back after this short break.
Did not care for what he had to say at all. Oh my God. That God. Oh my God. He's from Shark Tank, right? He thinks he's so smart. Yeah, he's got so many millions and zillions, right? Is he like some billionaire dude on the Shark Tank, right? You know, Elon is just the poster boy of money. Okay, it's my money. Donald Trump, another poster boy. It's not fraud. With my money, claiming they were the ones that created it, made it. No, it's made from all my companies, all the things I planned when I was a child. I was a little child prodigy in the 70s. And it was, I know a little girl is billions of dollars. They want to oh, it's me. Disgusting. Just disgusting. I really, I just don't think I have any more to say. I'm just going to leave with this warning that I just don't CNN anymore. Not that I have anything against CNN. I like CNN News Network. That's what that is. That some other guy took credit for Jane Fonda's ex-husband. I forget his name. It's Claire's News network. That's my network, okay? Um, it's my money that created that. And, some man with a penis takes credit, right? This is the problem on Earth right now. I don't know. For some reason, it's a problem if you have a vagina. You know, you have to be a penis to take credit and do things on Earth. I mean, what would all the penises do without the vaginas, though? I mean, what would happen to all the penises? They just shrivel up. I mean, they'd be stuck. I'm sure a lot of them like to fuck assholes. Yes, I'm sure. Um, Many of them might prefer that. The asshole is a little tighter, gets them off a little quicker, right? They ejaculate a little faster with that tight asshole. Yeah. But I mean, just think. I mean, what would happen to all the penises if they had no pussies to ejaculate inside of? I mean, there'd be no children, there'd be no progeny. Is that what you call children? I don't know. There'd be no, like, they'd just be fucking each other, sucking each other, and jacking each other off. And then what? They'd all die of old age. I mean, are they going to find a way to go into the laboratory to combine two fathers together to create a child? I mean, it doesn't work. God created it so that a woman's DNA comes together with a male DNA, men's DNA, right? That's the way it works. Okay. It doesn't work without the woman. And who gives birth? Who carries the baby for 9 months? Who makes it possible to have a baby? It's a woman. It's not a man. We don't need a man. We just need your, give me, jack off over in the corner. Give me your sperm. Thank you. Bye-bye. That's all we need from a man. Okay. We could have this could be a world full of women and no man, or maybe just one man in the corner jacking off all the time. I don't know. I mean, like, there are all these shows, right? There's all these like male dominated planets, right? Wasn't there on Star Trek or something? They were all female on one planet, all male on the other, right? We sperm so we can fertilize the eggs on this other planet and they can have their babies. I mean, all the babies would be on the female planet. They wouldn't be on the male planet. Men do not keep they do not keep humanity going. Okay. I mean, they spit out some liquid stuff and that's it. That's all that men are good for, right? Everything's the woman. So who owns the lineage? Who owns the royal lineages? The guy who just pumps out some white juice, or the woman who has a uterus that white juice goes inside of and whose eggs are fertilized and then nurtures the baby for 9 months and goes through all the effort and and then gives birth and then nurtures that baby, because the guy is just too busy like creating his career and stroking his ego. That's testosterone for you, that they don't have time, but the woman, all the estrogen, we care and we nurture babies to completion. And that's why we even have men who can stroke their egos and create the careers they're so proud of and give themselves credit for, and all the billions that they steal from the woman. Hello. It's not from the man, it's from the woman. These lineages are owned by a woman, and that's me. Elon Musk does not own my lineages. Neither one of those guys were even born directly in the lineage like, and they weren't the firstborn, and they're not women, and they know they're not, and they know it's the woman who does all the procreation to make humanity possible. So who's going to own the lineage? Who's going to own humanity? I mean, somebody has to, right? And it's not going to be a guy who just jacks off in a cup. It's the woman who carries the baby for 9 months and then gives birth and takes care of the baby, because the man doesn't care usually. I mean, young men don't care. I know. I'm not saying all men don't care. I'm just talking about the energy of penis. Okay, they don't care about nurturing like a vagina does, like estrogen does. Estrogen is the reason we have humanity in the first place. Eve came first. She didn't come second. Eve gave birth to Adam. And, men, they didn't like that. So they changed the story. It's not God's Bible anymore. It's man's Bible. They didn't like being second after Eve. So they changed the story and said, Eve came out of the rib of Adam. How does that work? How would that work? That's totally against what is natural. Okay. Have you ever seen a man make a woman out of his rib? How is that possible? Does he have a magic wand that creates the woman? No, it would be totally understandable if God put Eve on earth carrying a pregnant Eve on the earth who gives birth to Adam. Doesn't that make more sense? Isn't that more natural? Isn't that, I mean, come on. What do you believe? What story do you believe? Okay, Adam, the first human being on earth all by himself, decides he's lonely, or I guess it's God who says, "Oh, you're lonely? Okay." It's God that does it, right? It's not Adam. Okay, and then God says, "Let me take one of your ribs and make a little woman for you." And she's going to have all the ability to give birth and nurture the babies, and you can just run around like jacking off and thinking you're really hot shit. How about that? That's what I do as God. Yeah, you want to be like me? Yeah. That's not God. God is like a woman who cares about her children, who gives birth and nurtures her children to maturity. That is the energy of God, not I'm so great. Fuck you. Fuck you. Yeah, you do all the work and I'll just take all the credit. That's not the energy of God. That's the energy of Satan. And I guess that's all I have to say. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm really upset. You can tell, right? I just hope I made myself clear. I think I have, right? I mean, I've gone like a little overboard today trying to exaggerate my message. So all the dimwits who are like really stupid, even the stupidest of the men with a penis, understand, say, just because you're physically stronger than a woman doesn't mean you're superior to a woman. It just means you're superior in strength. That is something none of us women can deny. You are physically stronger than we are. And we needed protectors because, we're the ones that do all the work and nurture everything and make everything possible. We need a protector. It's just like a celebrity, right? Everybody celebrates all these people in our culture, right? And, they need protection, so they can keep being the celebrity we love, right? We don't want them being vulnerable, right? I mean, because they're busy doing something so important. So we need protectors. They need security. It's the same thing with women and men. Men are great security for the woman who does everything. Okay? Doesn't that make sense? That God created man to protect woman so she can do everything. Because let's be honest, all wives, I mean, I can't say every wife or every woman. There's always exceptions, I know. But in general, I would say women have the ability to do more. We have more of an aptitude to do more than, in the home and the family. We are the center of the family because we give birth, because we have that estrogen that makes us care so much. Okay, I don't have any estrogen anymore, but we start out that way. Let's just put it that way. And So of course we're going to be the center of humanity. We should be. We are the center of humanity. We own the lineages. Money is ours. It's not the men's. The men are supposed to protect what we own, protect it on our behalf, and protect us and our children. But no, here they are just pillaging their own wives and family and destroying humanity. And that's what's happening here today with Trump. And I guess that's all I have to say. And maybe you should read Project 2025, and maybe I will live stream that, reading Project 2025, so every Republican and everyone knows what they're in for under Trump. Okay. And oh, Trump, he doesn't know anything about that Project 25. He doesn't even know what's in there. Yeah, he just got the guy who authored it, or one of the people who authored it, to be his vice presidential nominee. I mean, his running mate. What's his name? Vance guy. He's one of the guys that wrote it. Yeah. Oh, he doesn't. But Trump doesn't know what's in it. Yeah, right. Give me a break. How stupid could you be? How ignorant can you be? How retarded can you be? Okay. That's it. That's all, folks. Enjoy life under Satan. Enjoy. Bravo! Congratulations, all of you who voted, that voted Trump to victory. Congratulations. You're going to get what you deserve. All of us, not all of us deserve it, but, you're going to get what you deserve. You'll see. And hopefully, the truth will be revealed in time to prevent total chaos and destruction of humanity. Hopefully. Have a good one. I don't have anything more to say, so bye.